Okay, it is Friday night, and we are live on stream. And earlier today, Guild Wars 2 on Twitch.tv did a broadcast called the New Kaineng City Map Tour. And we are going to watch that now and see if there is any pertinent information. And because I have the attention span of a fruit fly, I am going to watch it on a higher speed. So, with the power of fast forward, let's jump until they actually begin the broadcast. This is one of the... Wow. How long is the total broadcast? 59 minutes, and the first 12 minutes was wind-up. Okay. All right. Let's start at 1.5 and see if that's enough for me. Looks like they're doing the same trailer that came out the other day. Oh, that means the panpipes are about to hit. Brace yourselves, friends. Music is lit at 1.5 speed. Yo, there's been times where I've been on YouTube and I've watched like some video that had music in the background. I'm like, oh man, this is amazing. And then I remember I'm on 2x speed and I slow it down to normal and I'm like, oh man, this song sucks now. Like, I can't tell you how many times I have done that. When I'm like, oh man, this is good. Like, this is bopping. Oh wait, I'm on double speed, slow it down, and then it's just like, it's awful. That was a lot of splashing.
Hi Tyria, happy Friday and welcome to Guild Chat. I'm your host Ruby and I am so glad you're all here today and you're excited for everything that we have to show. Before we do anything else, I do want to call out the extremely cute merchandise that you were just looking at since I saw a lot of you asking about it. The plush griffin and...
Ruby, I love your work, but you're literally trying to sell merch 2 seconds into the broadcast. Or I should say 14 minutes and 42 seconds. Imagine watching this live, 14 minutes and 42 seconds in, you finally get to the host, and they start selling you, oh my god.
And yes, that is a Siege Turtle enamel pin, are two of the newest...
But god dang it, that's an adorable turtle. I do have the plush griffin.
Official merchandise items that you can get over at Good Smile now. Get that Siege Turtle pin just to get ready for End of Dragons. So, on to today's show because we have had a really busy week. Earlier this week, we shared the End of Dragons gameplay trailer and announced the February 28th launch date of End of Dragons to all of you. And yesterday, we gave you a first look at New Kaineng, our fourth map in End of Dragons. So, we're going to expand on that today with a nice long map tour of New Kaineng City. We're going to be led by our dev guests, so let's say hi to them real quick. Indigo, hi.
Hello, I'm Indigo. I'm a narrative designer and writer at ArenaNet. I work on End of Dragons.
Reminder that when we did the thing where I raided with the devs, Indigo was the mesmer that was popping off. Chat, her damage was equal to everyone else's damage. Like, I was prioritizing healing this woman because it was her versus Cairn and friends.
Some of you may know, I helped with a bunch of the systems and making sure that they were grounded in the lore of Tyria and felt like a living, breathing part of the narrative. So I helped with elite specs, I helped with Jade bots, which we might talk about next week on Friday. A bunch of other stuff like fishing, helped with the golden path, but most importantly, and maybe my biggest contribution to the expansion, is I was the narrative owner of the new Kaineng map, which we're going to look at today.
Cool, thank you. And I love...
If you hear me moving around in the background, I'm Mystic Forging. There's a video coming up where I bought 4,000 trophy shipments, liquidating 1 million volatile magic, and I have accidentally filled up 3 characters and 10 banks on my account with this stuff, so I'm chipping through this while we watch Connor.
Your plush griffin, you got a little head start.
Appropriately placed at the last minute.
All right, and Connor, hi, welcome.
Hello, my name is Connor Fallon. I'm a senior designer here. I'm serving as...
He was in the raid playing the character named Palawan Joko, and he was the guy that died so many times that I said, they're going to have to change your slogan to raise Joko and drop the P. And I think one person in the raid got it, and that was a pity because that was an amazing joke. It was really good.
The story team lead for End of Dragons, which means I was working very closely with all our writers and designers in order to figure out the golden path, the general themes that we're going to be touching on, how they affect various maps. And yeah, I'm super happy to be here with these two awesome people. I don't have a plush griffin though, so I'm sorry everybody.
bummer.
I do want one.
It's okay.
They are pretty cool.
Yeah, it's okay. You're still awesome, and I'm so glad that you found time to take part in this today. All right, so I'm going to let Connor and Indigo lead us. I'm going to be your eyes, and I'm going to follow them around, and we will see how much we can get a look at. Connor, when your awesome dance is over, let's take a look at where we're starting. It will never be over.
It'll never be-
While,
Connor will
while
never
you
stop.
rock out, tell us where we are.
Yeah,
Or Indigo,
This
either way.
is Kaineng. Yeah,
This is Kaineng.
This is
it's,
it. This is the whole map.
we showed the preview in between when we showed the last preview, and now we deleted the entire map.
Yeah,
It's just this.
You saw that airship crash?
It looked too
This is
nice.
it.
So we blew it up.
Yeah, we blew it. It's gone.
Could we stop
but-
blowing up cities, please?
Why?
Never.
No. It's a great climactic way to start every single expansion. But where we actually are, so we're to bring it back down to a little bit more serious, I suppose.
I don't know if they're going to say it or when they might say it, so I'll just say this to remind anyone watching this. They will. This place is going to look barren because they will be despawning anything that they think looks like a spoiler. So if you're like, oh my god, the city looks empty, but it's because they purposefully despawned a ton of stuff that they thought was going to be a spoiler.
Yeah,
So we're standing right now in a really tiny alcove in what is actually old Kaineng. So a lot has changed in the last 250 years, but about 100 years ago from present, when the elder dragon Zaitan rose, a travesty called the Zaitan disaster happened, and basically on his awakening, a massive tidal wave actually wiped out most of old Kaineng. So it's currently occupied by risen threats that have been festering and mutating over the last 100 years. But we only get a peek of that right now. So we're in the old Kaineng ruins, which is in the northmost east corner of the map. And there's a bunch of Unchained Risen, and the Unchained, which Connor will get into in a second, are just kind of our expansion of what the Risen are.
new arrival.
And it's just an incredibly dangerous area that's starting to bleed out into the city just a little bit. It's a hard thing to maintain, but I'll let Connor go into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, so way back when we did the announcement video, and we can maybe slowly meander. No, it's hard to walk and talk. Way back when we did the announcement video, we talked about how we made a timeline of all the major events that occurred in Tyria and tried to figure out which of them would have affected Cantha. Well, Cantha, we have talked about in lore that Cantha was affected by the Risen as well, and the initial rising of Zaitan, we really saw it as like a major event. And you could actually probably divide Cantha history into kind of more than the time that we've been missing, into pre and post Zaitan disaster. It is that significant. And so, but as from a design perspective, these ones are already running ahead. It was
Makes me immediately wonder if when we got on when we defeated Zaitan, if the people in Cantha just like, if their undead problems just suddenly stopped. Like just cold turkey completely stopped. They were just like, oh, that was weird.
It was fun to
I hope they
turn this
address
army and update them the way we did with the branded in Path of Fire, right? Make new variants of them. You can see that some of them we have some classic varieties that washed up with the waves. I saw some people online when we were releasing the trailer who were like, what? Why are there Orion gorillas here than Cantha? And I'm like, because there was massive tidal waves, that's why. And but also there's people from Cantha who were affected.
Yo, imagine being in Florida and they're like, tidal wave warning, get to high ground, and you get to high ground, and then you look through your binoculars and some guy's like, dear mother of God, you're like, what is it? And he's like, there's undead gorillas in the tidal wave. Like that's like Sharknado, or like Piranado, like freaking undead gorilla tidal wave. Are you serious?
And like you can look around, you can see some of these people are wearing Canthan attire. It looks like the spawn. Oh, here we go. Unchained Hunter is where, and so these are people who were actually caught up in the magics that surrounded that disaster. Now, as we know from Ore, even after Zaitan is dead, this corruption is very hard to completely clean up. So a lot of Cantha has focused on containing it to clear areas that people just know not to go in. Except for us, we're the commander, so we're just gonna go wherever we want to go because we're.
Yeah, you guys are making friends. I'm invisible. I'm trying to find one to get like a close-up look at. So if you see one, don't murder it quite yet. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little headstrong. I'm sorry.
Indigo is bloodthirsty. She can't stop.
Indigo's
But
starting
we're noting,
trouble.
so as I was saying, that Cantha is mainly doing containment efforts, right? But there's also people who have various reasons to venture into these ruins. There's a lot of lost history here, which you as a player can also find. And other characters have other reasons for going here. If you look up Indigo, do you want to talk about this character that's up on the ledge up there?
Yeah, absolutely. So like we talked about in some of the other streams, and for folks that didn't tune in, all of our new elite specs are incredibly grounded in the lore of Cantha and the nation of Cantha. And so this, Yurong is our Harbinger elite spec mentor, and she is maybe doing a little bit of research here in the ruins.
She said, don't touch the elixirs. Chat! I've made it into the game. This is it. Teapot has his teapot. I have this lady who's a Russian who says, don't touch the elixirs. That's mine. I choose to believe that's my reference.
Particularly interested in Zaitan and kind of the magic that was left behind and the disaster that happened. And they're spread all throughout the world, and that kind of helped us ground the specs a little bit more in the Canthan culture. So it's kind of like a fun thing to go hunt where all of those are down. So this is the Harbinger one. There's also the Catalyst is also in New Kaineng. But yeah, very exciting
Ruby,
stuff.
go invisible. I've got one for you that you can get.
Yeah,
up
thank
close
you.
to. Yeah.
Oh, there he is. I won't kill it, I promise.
Where? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's a giant target
Yes,
marker.
And Indigo,
Where?
I'll get a good look, and then Indigo, you can just go nuts.
I'll leave it alone.
It was-
I'll be nice.
It was really fun when creating these variants to be like, how do we take the completely new assets that we made?
Why
which
is
are
he
like
getting
the new
random
camping outfits
boons
and things like that.
constantly?
Oh god, there's an abomination that's rising up literally where I'm
Fury,
standing. I'm gonna
Aegis,
just
3 might.
cheat and kill that guy. I don't want to fight him.
No!
Yeah, and merge them together. Anyway, but you know what? I think we've looked at ruined stuff for quite some time. So let's.
Okay, yeah.
We have, yeah. So maybe people want to see what Kaineng looks like. So let's travel towards this. Oh my God! Wow, is that a mysterious giant jade took-looking door on the side of the
Oh my
ruin?
gosh. Could we did not know this was coming. Could we go through it?
We did not know
What
this was
happens if we
coming.
approach it?
Oh no.
I'm just gonna spoil it. I'm going through.
Wait!
Go on through. Okay, wait
No
for
one
me.
stop me.
Okay,
this
so
is-
where are we?
We are in the Napui lab, so aptly named after the Napui district in Kaineng originally, which was destroyed in the Zaitan disaster, unfortunately. The sister lab to the south is the Sungyeong lab, similarly named. This is one of the main stops and the starting point for the Kaineng meta event, actually. And it's a really great first kind of peek at some of the stuff you'll see in the city. There's a bunch of Jade mechs walking around and Jade batteries hanging from the walls and panels and all sorts of really fun tech. And it's just a tiny peek of what we're going to get. There's a couple of labs scattered throughout. But in the Kaineng
Wait a
meta,
minute.
without giving too much away, because it is the Napui district in Kaineng. This is one of the
Hang
Napui
on.
district in Kaineng originally, which was destroyed in the Zaitan disaster, unfortunately. The sister lab to the south is the Sungyeong lab, similarly named. This is one of the main stops and the starting point for the Kaineng meta event, actually. And it's a really great first kind of peek at some of the stuff you'll see in the city. There's a bunch of Jade mechs walking around and Jade batteries hanging from the walls and panels and all sorts of really fun tech. And it's
I wanted to look at Connor's character. Check this out. Like, this is new stuff. Like, look at this belt buckle. It's got, like, 3 green, I don't know. Makes me think of Bane from Batman. You know, he'd always have, like, the green vials with, like, the Bane juice that would get him pumped up. Or the Bane, I think it was called Venom, Bane Venom. This belt reminds me of that. That's cool. So this is some of the new stuff. It's got a little headband, a little thing through his head. The thing through his hair, that's probably a new hairstyle, I would imagine. It's like a Naruto headband.
just a tiny peek of what we're going to get. There's a couple of labs scattered throughout. But in the Kaineng meta, without giving too much away, because it is a little bit of a spoilery event, what we can say is that the tech in the city is starting to go a little bit haywire, and we have to work with Yao and Mizuki being a MinSec officer, to see what's going on. And I'll let Connor talk in a second about the Golden Path characters and how we incorporated those into the world. But the what I can kind of say is like a fun little anecdote about the Kaineng meta is when I went to Elijah Miller, our team lead for the map, and Jade as well. In Frosty, when we were kind of coming up with a narrative pitch for the meta, one of the things I said to them was, I really want to make it feel like a 1970s horror movie. And my specific point of inspiration was the 1970s Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and just kind of getting that tone, that eeriness, the unknown that you're kind of exploring. And everybody was like, oh, heck yeah, we're absolutely doing that. There's no other way we can do it now. And the result is really fun, and we played through the whole thing yesterday, and it was absolutely delightful. But speaking of Yao, our dear...
Hang on, someone says, Muck, can you assure that EOD won't bring any other bouncy to old professions? No. No, I can't assure that. Like, on launch day, I don't know of any patches affecting all of the other professions, but later on, I'm sure they will. Like, if let's say EOD has been out for a month, and let's say, I'm going to make something up here. Let's say Spectre is so good, Banner Warrior doesn't even get into groups anymore, which that doesn't even make any sense, but you get the idea. They would probably start either buff one or nerf the other, you know? Or if... I don't know. If Blade, what is something else? If Willbender is absolute garbage and isn't used anywhere, it might get a massive buff. Or maybe Firebrand will finally get a nerf. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be balancing, but on launch day, probably not.
Dearest agender engineer. I will pass it over to Connor to talk about how one of the big things that we did was making sure all of our characters were in the world.
Yeah, so I mean, this is something that we've I think only gotten better at in Guild Wars 2 over time, is that characters with fleshed out stories don't only exist in the Golden Path; they exist in the open world as well. And in this expansion, especially, we blurred the lines a little bit. We have characters who show up in the Golden Path, and then they really come into their own and live primarily in the open world, and you get to know them pretty well. And Yao is actually one of the primary coordinators for the Kaineng meta, so you really get to know them.
Okay, Yao I know because Yao has a lot of big fan base on Twitter right now. Yao is the engineer that has his left arm is prosthetic. It's like a mechanical, Jade arm. And Yao is a mechanist. And I only know this because I looked it up yesterday. Yao was voice acted by a apparently famous voice actor. It was new to me, named Rai Chase. So yeah.
By you meet them in the Golden Path, and then by participating in events in the world and doing things throughout Kaineng, that's how you get more familiar with them. And there's just a lot of really nice things like that throughout the world that really helps it feel cohesive. Like that the people that you are encountering in the story have lives beyond just, oh, I've been waiting for the commander to show up for my one scene and then I stop existing. No, they're all doing things. They have their own lives and they're all their own problems they're trying to solve.
Yes.
Very
So we
cool.
open the other door.
Yeah,
Oh
there's
my God,
another
wow,
mysterious high-tech door.
We really love
They're not
mysterious
that mysterious
doors.
after the but anyway.
After the
Just
first
go
one,
with
it's not
Connor.
that mysterious anymore. Just go with
Let
it.
us have this.
All right. Sure.
Well,
Good.
as you can see, God damn it, Connor. Welcome to New Kaineng. This
Oh
is
my
our
gosh,
first peek
PG stream.
of the city itself. This is what we get. So New Kaineng, my kind of quick overview is that New Kaineng was an incredibly exciting map for us to put together, and it was a really unique opportunity.
Now I wonder if those are the things you surf on with the new mastery, or if that's like literally just a power line.
Right, because being that it's a cityscape, it's also a combat-centric map. So there was a lot of technical difficulties associated with making that function, but most importantly to me, it provided a really fascinating opportunity for storytelling because it gave us a really, really intricate view and opportunity to dig into the lives.
Oh
of the
no,
humans.
it's different. That's it right there.
Given since the Zitian disaster, a lot of political change has happened. So Kaineng is now a very inclusive city, work in progress, as everybody is in kind of when those kind of big social changes happen. But the Luxons and Kurziks have been since integrated back into Kansan society. Some of them live here now too. The Tengu, which did not get along with the humans at the time of factions, they have their own districts, which we'll be exploring in a little bit. But kind of the nature of having a map like this allows us to have events that are telling these people's stories and really fun environmental things. And Kaineng specifically is a really big example of what modern Kantha is like. It's the hub of technology. It's almost like a Wakanda, so to say, of Kantha. It's a very cool thing. And
The Wakanda of Kantha.
You see a lot of social change, a lot of financial change. Not Jade Tech is an incredibly expensive thing, even though it has been mostly incorporated into the city. Not everybody can afford.
Is that big, giant, fancy neon sign just to tell you that there's a staircase there? That's funny. Wakantha.
Afford it. You get to see a lot of those differences as you travel throughout.
I'm right behind you, Connor. I got distracted looking around. Everything's beautiful.
I mean, I don't
I'll
think
be right there.
like for every corridor that we're going down, there's a bunch of corridors that we're not that are just as crazy and intricate. So one of the things that I really love about painting, and Indigo touched about this a little bit, is like we have made city maps before. We have made big maps that have a ton of events before. To combine them both was a really unique undertaking that honestly we've never really tried to do. The closest was Amnoon, which was a city that took place in an open world map. But even then, like most of the events took place outside the city, and the city wasn't the whole map.
Sure.
The closest comparison, like to scale, that New Kaineng has is Divinity's Reach. But even further than that, because like for example, Divinity's Reach, when that was first made, we didn't have mounts, so we could just have things get smaller to create the sense of scale as they went further up. That's not the case in Kaineng. Everything when you look up is actually there. The things way off in the distance are all built out, and there's a lot of really crazy views that we're going to be able to see. And I just love the fact that like this is obviously very different from what anything in Guild Wars that was in Kantha and Guild Wars 1. But one of the things that's lovely about this expansion, especially when compared to the other previous expansions, is the fact that every one of these maps really has its own personality. We have Xingje, which is very much more like what we experienced in Guild Wars 1. We have the Jade Sea, which is a holy site in many ways. It's been affected by this need for Jade technology, the depths, the twisted depths of I was about to say Maguma. But we do have those.
I hope some little side quest somewhere explains why they have holographic fish and stuff in the sky. It's pretty, but I'd like to know the reason for it.
The twisted depths of Ekovald, and then Kaineng, which is really let's take all these Jade tech elements and just amp them as far as we can go. And that because this is where all the tech is developed, this is where people are integrating it into their everyday life, and just having this one spot that has this really distinct this is all that it's everywhere. And I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
and one of the really cool things about Kaineng is that, one, it's an entirely new city. It was built just to the south of where the old city used to be. Over top of there were some Naga swamps. Unclaimed territory, some Tengu territory, so there's a little bit of political drama with taking up this land to build the city, and we touch on that in some collections that you can find throughout the world. But given the nature that it's an entirely new city, we built it to kind of reflect a really specific story. So there's 3 different layers to it. It's an incredibly vertical map. The bottom layer is a little bit more poverty-struck, where we were when we started, and as you move up, you see more wealth. So the middle districts in Kaineng, or it's kind of like the San Francisco of our world, where it's tech is starting to become more prevalent. There's a lot of growing pains associated with that. People are now competing with.
She said the bottom layer is poor. In factions in Guild Wars 1, there was the slums levels. I wonder if she's referring to that, or if it's moved up from slums to just poor.
The technology for their jobs, but then as you start traveling up to the very top, it gets very opulent and airy, and the music is beautiful, and that's of course the wealthy district. They want for less. There's gardens, it's lush, it's beautiful. Technology is widespread since JTech is incredibly expensive. But yeah, so that was a really cool opportunity to really dive into. Kaineng is its own story outside of the rest of the expansion. Like every map is its own story, like Hunter said. And this was just a really cool thing to make a hub of technology that was unlike anything else in Tyria. But speaking of the lower districts, I think our next stop, we are actually going to be traveling over to Cobble Ward, which is the Tengu district in New Kaineng. And so the Tengu, just a little bit of a refresher, is our race of bird-like creatures in Kantha. And they have taken over one of the southern lower district of the city, which is a little bit more
That you are not allowed to play.
rundown, and we are, which is also serves as a renowned heart, which Connor will go over in a second, but we are helping a community leader named Strigaday and helping clean up this part of the city, because not only the Tengu, but a lot of people in Kantha and Kaineng as a whole, given that they've gone through so many social and political changes, care very deeply about keeping everything in working order, keeping it a very inclusive, welcoming place. And the Tengu, who haven't really had that in a long time, especially not integrated into larger Kanthan society, it's really important to them that Cobble Ward is a peaceful place.
Oh, I think that's that Jade Tower that we saw in the teaser trailer, where we saw like a raptor running up the stairs through like the jade tinted windows.
So even though it's in the lower districts, and there's, and I will note that there's Jade Brotherhood presence in the city as well as maybe a tiny bit of undercover purist activity. Not saying too much, but it's not the safest place. But it's Strigaday's goal, along with her comrades, to make it a better place. Another really cool thing that we did with some environmental storytelling down here is that since Jade Tech is very expensive, they have steam-powered generators and other steam-powered tech. One of the activities that we do in the Heart is to help patch those up. But the Heart does something really cool for the expansion as well that players might appreciate, especially ones that are newer to the game. And I will pass it over to Connor to kind of go into that a little bit more.
So this Heart is actually, we've talked in the past about how we're giving mounts away in this expansion as well, because they're just such a cool feature and so distinct in Guild Wars 2. We want to make sure that people who are coming in for End of Dragons have access to them. This Heart is actually, and the other Heart, this Heart is actually where you get raptors if you haven't had raptors before, and also.
Yeah, to do a refresher here, I believe they said that if you get EOD and you don't have Path of Fire, they will provide a way for you to obtain the Raptor, the Springer, and the Skimmer mounts. Not all of them, but those ones, because you'll need them.
So there's another Heart in Kaineng where you get the Springer. But the thing that's really nice about this Heart that I really enjoy is, even if you've already had your Raptor, it just gives you a good excuse to explore the city and leap across the rooftops, which is just a lot of fun. I'm going to show the core mechanic of this Heart quickly. If you head over to the Supplier Cracks, he's got a bunch of crates. Yes, and let's talk about Supplier Cracks for a second. So.
Oh, I'm being corrected in chat. Some said it wasn't Skimmer, it was Raptor, Bunny, and Gliding. Okay, so maybe that's it. We'll see if they go back over that, because the last time they talked about that was months ago.
This is a new Tengu model that we got within like the last month or so.
He's got a bowl cut.
Fluffball Tengu was an early favorite, but I'd say I really like what do we call him? Bowl cut Tengu.
I'm going with aggressive bowl cut.
I nailed it. You're welcome, Ana.
Yeah.
It's a Gloucester Canary is I think the model, but like it is worth noting. I mean, we are, as we said, we were showing these previews when the game is still in development. In every area that we have visited, they have been updated. And obviously, like Mori Village that we visited in Echo Vault, these new Tengu models that we're getting, there's going to be a lot more variety there when the expansion actually comes out. And it's just really fun to see them still coming in and being able to integrate them. In fact, one of the characters we showed, I'm not going to say which one of the characters we showed during our character preview stream actually has an updated look from when they were in there before. So that'll be.
I bet it's that Tengu girl. They said, oh, she has good ideas, but she's really shy and she needs to grow into. And I did that video of her nuking the jungle, because her model looked super basic. I bet it's her. I cannot remember her name without looking up my own meme video, and I'm not going to do that right now, but I bet she's the one. Yeah, the Patricia meme.
Be nice. But yes, so the actual Heart, the way this one works is you collect these crates. And it gives you 3 random locations. Everyone's going to follow me on the rooftops that you're like, okay, deliver these to these generators to get them running again. And it's a really nice, I mean, I like it. I'm sure the people living in these houses don't appreciate me running across their rooftops as much, but it's a really fun excuse to like navigate the city in different ways. I'm going to head this way, which is with one of the things. Make some interesting jumps, like to navigate some of these upper ways. Past some shady Brotherhood.
Sorry, I jumped too far.
Yeah, there's some shady Brotherhood up here, actually complaining about the Tengu and the fact that they're not buying the Brotherhood's knockoff tech because they don't trust the Brotherhood.
I like how the cameraman, the guy, I think his name is Stefani or something like that. He usually controls them. He's following Ruby, and she falls off the cliff, and he's like, "Well, this is a lost cause." He just switches to somebody else's camera. Like, of course, it makes total sense, but it's also funny to me.
Yeah, there's just again, yeah, the Kaineng is the verticality in the city is amazing. I'm just gonna stop here. I'm not even gonna go to my destination. Just because like you can go to the top of something and look down and it looks awesome. You can go look up and it looks great. And let's actually take these stairwells because we talked about the verticality. Let's head to the upper district and be sold some noodles as we're doing so. I'll wait for Ruby to catch up.
I'm sorry. I got distracted looking around again.
It's so easy to get distracted in this map.
It is.
Yes. All right, let's head up. Get sold some noodles. And yeah.
Yeah, everybody really wants to sell us noodles in this map. Why did I do that? I mean, probably because I was hungry like 90% of the time when I was writing. But it's
I do love the bots just like, hey friend, do you like noodles? Yeah, hey, here he is.
My favorite anecdote about that, though, specifically, now that you point that out, is that whenever you're walking around with the bots, they have a bunch of ambient chatter that they say, and when you see something that's in all caps, that was kind of our way of representing that they're pulling something from an algorithm. So, because I mean,
Yes, chat. If you're new to Cantha, please be sure to sign up for their only noodles.
AI, they're kind of imperfect. So it's like, we hope you have an uneventful day. So really silly stuff like that, or we hope you enjoy, what was the joke, murder, or something like that. Kind of imperfect. So
Hang
it's like,
on.
we hope you have an uneventful.
For a second, when we were looking at this from the side, I thought this was a Jade Birdman. Like, I thought this was the beak, that was a big eye, and this was like a mohawk thing it had. And then when she rounded the corner,
silly stuff like that.
I was almost disappointed. I'm like, oh, it's just a Jade guy.
Or we hope you enjoy, what was the joke, murder, or something.
Yeah. Sometimes it's noodles, sometimes it's murder. All right, so we're in the upper district.
Murder.
Whatever.
Yes. So
They got sound tiles here in case the city gets too loud.
Upper district. Here's where we are.
yes,
It's lovely.
Yeah. So yes, the upper district. Again, there's so many spots that you can just climb to and have some fantastic views. An interesting fact about End of Dragons is because we have all these lights and all this tech, we actually changed the day-night cycle in Cantha to be night or more, because night is just so beautiful in so many of these maps. With even some of the older maps just having lights that run across like a forest path.
God, they hacked the sun. That proves that Cantha is the technologically superior city in the entire place. They hacked the sun.
And things like that, and it really shines. A lot of these locations shine at night. That said, that does not mean they are not beautiful during the day. I'm going to perform some witch magic here and change the time of day, and probably take out a bunch of
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
I'm scared.
Again, the trade-off in Kaineng is when during the day there's a little bit more visibility. You can really see a lot of these towers way off in the distance. Again, we really have not had any city map that was like this before. It was a lot of work to do, but I really think it's paid off. And there's so many different cool locations for you to go to.
Yeah, I was going to say totally worth it.
Yes.
Oh
this is going to be a little bit of a weird one because we ran through this earlier and we actually did the thing and now it's disappeared. But I do want to talk about an activity that exists in some of these maps, because even if we can't now show it to you,
It's right
still
here.
really cool. Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, it's right there. Yeah, I can see it. Let's not
No.
gaslight each other on live stream.
Yeah, I'm
our
actually
players,
disappointed
really what
because
we'd be
it's
doing. That'd be really bad. Anyway, but so hidden throughout the world, and we will follow the general path because we've done it a number of times, so we know what it is. Hidden throughout the world, we've always had chests and little things to find that are rewards for exploring. But this time around, the rewards team and Raymond Ing took this an extra level and, taking some inspiration from Breath of the Wild, have created a bunch of mini activities that if you could climb to a weird obscure place and there might be a bunch of crates and you might have to figure out something to do with the crates, or there's a weird swirling cloud of dust and you run into it and it appears further down and you chase after it. That's the one that's here. Lots of things like that, and then doing them it reveals a chest at the end. So the one that is over here, that you can totally see, is us running. Basically, it leads us along a path that sends us running down this little ramp, leaping across, and just gives us an excuse to really explore this map in a completely different way. And then there's a chest that would show up here with a bunch of indigo. Indigo appears, and that's the reward.
Yeah,
You get to
pretend
see
I'm the
indigo.
chest. Yeah.
Yes. But,
Oh my gosh,
the
there's a
thing is,
legendary inside.
wow, I got.
Yes, your prize is a high DPS raid member.
It's legendary from this one. We should not. Anyway, the thing that is really cool about these is there's actually a little lore that was built around these, which is every time a chest appears, you see little baby foxes running around all over the place. It's really cute, and I'm really sorry that we accidentally did it earlier because it's super adorable. But
It's adorable.
But the whole idea
Spoiled
is
on
that
the
basically
foxes.
these baby shrine guardians have hidden these chests, and they're spirits, so they're being playful, and you figuring out their little puzzles and the little things they're doing is just a cute way to interact with the world. And so they're basically baby versions of those mounts that the shrine guardian mount, which you all love. But yeah,
I'm actually
and
so
then we
disappointed that it
replaced
didn't show up. Man.
I know.
Yeah.
I had actually thought about it, and then we hadn't done we hadn't run through it in the same day, twice in the same day before, so I forgot. I apologize. But they are adorable. You just have to take my word for it.
They can see it for themselves very, very soon.
Yes, it's true. It's not that far off.
Okay,
Oh,
so
wow,
we're
look
looking at that first?
Spontaneous letter. Yeah,
I'm
we'll do
gonna
that.
read it.
There's two little anecdotes that we have up on this roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, this letter that Ruby's looking at it's really eerily kind and welcoming and lovely. But one of the cool things that we did in End of Dragons was that we used collections, and we've been doing this in the game for a little bit, but in End of Dragons we kind of amped this up, where we're using collections to tell anecdotal stories. Some of these are just collecting books and letters like players are used to. Some of them get a little bit more involved this time. This is kind of an example of one of the ones that I wrote for Kaineng, where we're just learning about some sneaky individuals. This letter's a little bit of a red herring. In this situation, it seems very warm and lovely and conspicuously placed, but it's actually a very eerie story that tells some stuff. And some things
I
go
like
down.
that it's a red herring, because my first thing was, this is a lot of dangerous information for someone who starts this with, I'm a spy. Here's all my family's names.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like, that seems conspicuous. The other thing I will draw
Uh-oh.
attention to, which is incredibly
Is this the
important,
cat I've been
there's a
seeing
kitten
memes
on the
about all
roof,
day?
Oh no!
And
What happened? Whoa! Connor! What did you do?
I guess I was trying to.
I can already tell what he did. Earlier when they were fighting the Risen, there was one that attacked him and he's like, I don't want to fight this, I'm just gonna cheat. Which means he's got some kind of kill.exe button. And I'll bet you he just accidentally hit the kill.exe button while he was petting the cat. Like, right clicked? No, it wasn't neutral, it was friendly. He accidentally went out of his way and used dev powers to assassinate this thing.
I was trying to, so I guess at some point I typed the dev command kill, and before that I typed in kneel, and I tried to use my last command, and I thought it was kneel, so I could kneel in front of the kitchen instead.
Connor! Oh my god! Well, I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen.
Welp.
Because
All pretend it didn't
So,
happen.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. There, let me see. Was it in the, oh yeah, here, got it. All right. So there's been many memes that have been floating around about this today, which I saw before seeing this broadcast. This is probably the best one. Connor is the cat in this one. But, yeah. So, Reddit's already been hard at work on this situation.
Like
Indigo,
Udamishi
continue.
level of, like,
Continue your heartwarming story now that Connor has just murdered this
one
kitten.
of our fellow devs just messaged me on Teams with "you monster," which is a fair response. I feel like a
good.
monster.
I'm glad. Exactly, because I was so proud. Our one of our designers on Kaineng are one of my favorite.
If he was Flute Girl, he would target Ruby right now and hit the command again and be like, oops. And then she'd be like, Connor, how could he? And she'd respawn and he'd do it again and go, oops.
For humans, Devin, whose work has just been besieged. One of the things when we were working on filling out the world.
End of kittens.
Connor, no. But when we were working on filling out the world, one of the things we did was add a bunch of cats and dogs, and kind of the idea was that they came down from the ruins after the Zaytian disaster. So when Connor's not killing them, there's cats all over the roofs, there's dogs everywhere, I can't keep a straight face.
Wow, Connor.
I can't pull my face over again. This is the goodbye.
Sorry, yes, you can pet all of these adorable animals, and there are petable dogs now, which I kind
Wait,
of
hold
love.
on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh my
use
gosh.
powers to resurrect a kitten.
I wish you would stop. No, don't keep using your god powers. You took
Yeah,
away
no,
the sun. You killed the kitten.
It'd be
killed a
so
kitten,
funny if he
Connor.
killed
I
either
know,
Indigo or
Look,
these
you know what,
characters right now.
There's only one thing I can do. I have to jump. Bye.
No! Oh gosh, I'm going after.
I guess it's almost like the jump was scripted, but the kitten. I promise the kitten was not. I don't condone killing kittens.
I
on
don't
stream.
either. I am.
Don't you?
I am emotionally distressed.
I'm
Not much
sorry.
difference in that.
Yeah, it's like the best part is that it didn't happen until I had zoomed in on it, and like the whole screen was nothing but kitten. And then Connor's like, now.
But then people will be like, why are cats randomly dying in the map? They don't normally die. They're normally happy, and you can pet them. And,
Let's get on a boat and leave this place.
on a boat.
Yeah,
I'm not
let's
gonna
get out
murder
of here.
anybody on a boat.
Look at these people
Connor
leaving
brought
the
a skiff
crime
out. Let's
scene.
just leave. All right,
have
so
fun
where are we
on
going?
this.
People being like, why'd you murder the kitten?
Whew.
Anyway, all right. So
Someone said go back and look at the utility bar when she was gliding.
Connor brought a
normally,
part is that don't you?
Was scripted, but
you know what? There's only one thing I can do. I have to jump. Bye.
No! Oh gosh, I'm going after.
I guess it's almost like the jump was.
The heal button. Is there a glider heal button?
Scripted, but
And then Connor's like, now.
But then people will be like, why are cats randomly dying in the map? They don't normally die. They're normally happy, and you can pet them. And,
Let's get on a boat and leave
Oh, yeah, we saw in the trailer there was a button that made your little Jade gyro thing give you like an updraft. Maybe it's that.
this place.
on a boat.
Yeah,
I'm not
let's
gonna
get out
murder
of here.
anybody on the boat.
Let's. Connor brought a skiff out. Let's just leave. All right,
I have
so
fun
where are we
on
going?
this. People being like, why'd you murder the kitten?
Whew.
Anyway, all right. So
Wait, hold on. So I'm getting a message that says this was Bobby's response shortly after. Hold on, let me hide the screen, make sure it's not troll. Alright, so Bobby Stein is one of Connor's... I'm pretty sure Bobby is above Connor at ArenaNet. And this is him on a Char character, which is a cat. And he's wearing the white tiger armor. So this is cat armor on a cat man with a cat ranger pet with a cat fun pet. So this is 4X cat. And he tweeted, "You're dead, Connor."
Crimson Spud, Moonlight Potato.
Ignore that. That's not part of the thing.
Accidental pet murder. One of my favorite things to do in this map is honestly. So this map is super cool, and the fact that there are these canals everywhere, and it's got this real feeling like kind of like Venice, right, where you can take your boat
No, there's kitten everywhere.
with all your friends, and you can travel along these rivers.
Not kittens.
So, for example, and I have a soft spot for going under bridges. I just think that there's something kind of fun about taking your boat and sailing under the bridges. But we're going to be going along these rivers, and sorry, I have to recalibrate myself. Deep breaths. Okay, so there's a lot of cool things to find along across the water. There's kappa that live along the rivers. There's actually a fishing event that triggers here.
Kappa.
Not too much about the fact that you can catch fish in these canals. Indigo, please.
No.
Anyway,
Let's go back to talk about the sewage. That is.
Yes, I mean, Cantha technology is very clean, and it's actually these rivers there's fish living in them and all these other things. So yeah, it's just a cool place to go sailing and catch fish and go swimming if you want. There's stuff to find in the rivers. Just don't think about we haven't really established what they do with their sewage.
Battery discharge. It could be. I mean, like, what could go wrong with like power plant discharge going into the water system for the?
Oh, that's such a
don't worry
question.
about it. That's an HR question. That's not an us question. That's an HR question.
Fair. All right. So we're coming to a cool place.
We are. So we are approaching the centralmost district of New Kaineng, which is the Ministry Ward. And the Ministry Ward, aptly named, is home to two really important functions. This opulent, beautiful, giant jade structure in front of us is the Junlei Jade headquarters. And it's such a cool building. It's one of my favorite props in Kaineng. It's fantastic. And nestled just behind that is another, maybe even bigger building, which is the Ministry headquarters. And these are maybe some of the most opulent parts of the city. On top of the ministry headquarters are some skyline gardens that overlook everything. This is just a really beautiful spot in general. This canal.
I like the waterfall.
But in front of us, just kind of at the central little hub of the ministry building in front of us in the canal, there's a golden little
remember
thing. And Connor had talked
check behind that for any treasure chests
about this in one of the other streams, but that is one of our mini holo projectors. Yeah, I think you're looking at it now, which is where a giant woman politely tells us about the news.
A holographic woman, not like a 20-foot person.
I'm suddenly there was an episode of Steven Universe where he said, yes, I've watched Steven Universe. He sung this stupid song and he's like, I just want to see a giant woman. And after Resident Evil 8, it really has a different tone now. But she said that, I was thinking of that freaking thing.
No, they have a giant woman.
Oh no.
We do. Yeah. A giant holographic woman politely tells us the news. Now, Mirai is incredibly professional, and this is and one of the things that basically the holo news is what happens when you let Connor and I like work on something together, and that might not always be the best idea because we go a little hard. But the holo news is one of my favorite things to write. It's so cool because it lets us feel like really
story, which is really fun.
Yeah. But yeah. So this is, and I think we're going to be doing just as a little demo. We're going to be doing one of the events right here in the canal.
Yes. So I want to talk about the meta briefly. So the structure of the meta is actually. My understanding was initially is basically that there's a bunch of smaller events that get triggered throughout the world, kind of rapid fire, and you are running around basically.
So really quickly, I'm pretty sure these are the emote things that you spam, which refills the driver of the skiff's energy. It's a weird system, but basically the driver of the skiff has like a speed boost button, and it recharges faster, or they can use it more often if these people are just like spamming. Woo! So to have your skiff going the fastest, you basically have like 4 people in it just going woo the entire time. It's just like you're trapped in a room with 4 drunk people like right after a concert. It's interesting design choice, but that's how it be.
Fixing a bunch of random different malfunctions that can happen throughout the world. My understanding is design-wise, an early inspiration for this was actually the Metal Legion concert, where we had those rapid-fire mini events that are happening all over the place, and you have to go around and fix them up. Each individual event being more simple, but then the fact that you're juggling all these different things you have to do, it turns into a little bit more of a hectic thing. Now, obviously, being an entire map-wide meta, it
I'm watching this person here that's like going on fire periodically.
Evolves. It's not just you're in one space, so the events got to get a little bit bigger, that you have more time to do them. But it still has that general feel of like a grab bag of madness that you have to deal with.
I love a grab bag of madness.
Yes. This one, the main theme is that basically power has been poured into, like, one of the Jade Brotherhoods has sabotaged one of the batteries. Power is spilling out into the river, and you have to go around and collect the pieces and return them. So it's a nice boat activity. You can only do it on your boat. And yeah, it's just a really, let me make, that's not the right trigger. Give me a second.
Yeah,
it's just it's a really nice, no kittens died this time when I entered the wrong can.
This time.
It's a really nice excuse to do stuff on your boat, explore the waterways, and try not to get sniped by Brotherhood. People could theoretically get out of the boat and go fight that Brotherhood, but they can also throw up a shield for me in order to make sure I at least don't get us all dismounted.
My shield is recharging. Someone else needs to help.
I guess I'll help the kitten killer.
Thanks. Oh no.
You know, they should give him that title. They should add that title in game just for Connor, the kitten killer.
I already feel
It was an
deep,
accident.
I'm sure that would take Darkbringer like 5 minutes. He could whip that up.
More than I know. But that doesn't
It's
make
okay.
It better. Oh, it does make it better. It actually does make it better, but not much better. Still feel a deep remorse in my soul. This is now like a tiny preview, and
I can't even focus on the
Biggie, I can't comment on that.
really cool door behind the really big waterfall that we're going to right now.
yes.
Awesome.
I mean,
I'll
there is
move
a
on.
cool
I'll move on.
waterfall.
Let's look at the really cool door behind the really cool waterfall because I want to go through the big high-tech door. Should we?
Yeah,
chat?
so we
Should
have-
we go through the?
It's not quite
Yeah,
yet.
I think we should.
We still got a little time until the thing happens.
We have a couple seconds before we can do that. But yeah, one of the really cool things about like the little event that we just did and like Connor started to elaborate on was that in the pre-event phase for the meta, crime is a little bit more rampant. Some technology is going a little haywire. So there's a ton of tiny little events all over the place that you need to help quell. And now there's a rare occurrence of those happening out in the normal world because crime can happen at any point. So that was a really cool way that we can kind of incorporate events that were thematically appropriate to both the meta, but also make sure that those are usable in the open world that make it feel like a robust city because crime events in a city are a little inevitable. But it's just one more thing that lets us make it feel like breathing and living. And yes.
I keep
Ooh, but we
trying
have-
to pan up like too high and I want to show more, and then the camera just goes underwater. So I've ruined everything like 3 times. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Well, the thing's actually starting now.
Hey.
Oh, so yeah, so we are gonna go see this was teased a little bit in the gameplay trailer on Monday, but we're gonna go get a little sneak peek at. I will call him my baby because I love this boss.
Oh, there's
event. I
Yao.
think that it was maybe my favorite event that I got to rate for the game thus far. We're gonna go look at the Jade Behemoth, which is a big boy, and he's a really good big boy, and I love him. And we got Yao and Mizuki here with us.
Oh, hang on.
For the game thus far. We're gonna go look at the Jade Behemoth, which
I
is a
was
big
trying to
boy,
get
and
a
he's a really
close
good big
look.
boy, and I love.
Yeah, there's the prosthetic arm. I feel like the face looks very... 95% of Yao looks great. I feel like the face looks very different from the other pictures they showed. Huh.
Love him, and we got Yao and Mizuki here with
The arm does look really cool. Like there's some like floating components and stuff like that, similar to the Jade Golems.
us. I mean, yeah, he's misbehaving a little bit right now. So this is the Jade Behemoth, which is maybe one of my favorite boss models. He's so good. Look at him.
I'm in.
I called the Jade Behemoth. I said this anteater looking thing in the video that went to YouTube, and someone said that's not an anteater. That's a what did they call it? Like a starfish-nosed vole or something like that. I don't know. It's an animal I'm not familiar with. I'm sorry, but yeah, feel free to share with the class if you remember what this thing's called.
Visible right now, so I can get in there and get a real good look. Go ahead.
Oh god, okay. I'm trying my best. I will fight him as long as I can while we're talking. But so the Jade Behemoth was
Sure you can
designed
do
by we'll see.
She's already at 2% health. Just turn on the hacks that you gave the people from the newspapers that couldn't beat my trend with God mode turned on.
The Jade Behemoth was designed by June to kind of work as a failsafe for the city in the need of dire protection. But as you can see, he's attacking us, so he's not really doing much protecting. He might be on the fritz for some reason.
I think
or
it's
another.
broken.
I think she does have God mode. She's a freaking cheater. Indigo, you're better than this.
It might be broken. And he hits really hard.
Oh, she's such a good actor. She's acting scared, and she's got the hacks on.
Yeah, I remember when we were getting all the concept art for the different Jade mechs, and we actually got the one for this creature a little bit later, but we were all immediately like, stop everything. This one is incredible. We need it. We need to use it. And it just really has a different feel than a lot of the other mechs. It's obviously more meant for defense, for combat, while a lot of them are more, elegant. And yeah, this event progresses a lot. It's obviously the design
And Ruby mounts up. She's helping.
for a bunch of people, and we're not doing
We're
that.
not a bunch of
only showing
people.
The initial phase. Yeah, it's chasing me probably because it wants vengeance, which is fair. But
Yeah.
Indigo, meanwhile, can just slowly take it away. But yeah, we're not going to be able to
Slowly.
beat it. So
PT Wolf says, do you think POF or HOT will be on sale at EOD release? No, I don't, because for the entire month of December, they were 50% off.
my advice is that we actually just run away.
Okay.
No, I think she's
I got
got
it
this
down by
though.
1%.
Ah, see that? Invulnerable.
1%,
Oh, wow.
guys.
You can do it. You can do
So
it.
we can sit here for like, there's
Caught
a
him.
timer on this event. So
I don't think I can get that
think
done
we're
in
tracking.
13 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, we might as well run. I tried my best. We got 1%
Alright.
down.
All right, I'm just looking
Definitely
around
like an
real
event.
quick. Okay,
Do it.
I'm coming. I
Our
promise.
meta events,
I'm done messing around.
a cool, you're fine. A cool note too about our meta events for newer players is that they are map-wide events that are meant to play with as basically
Someone said that's the Bone Skinner animation, isn't it? It might be the Bone Skinner, like, wireframe, but, completely different model over the top of it.
upward of 20 people. I know the Kaineng meta, we did a test yesterday with 60, I believe, and it felt really good and fun and climactic. So these are wide-scale events. So while it would be fun for me to sit there and hit it for all 13 minutes before I died, I could not accomplish that on myself. I doubt I could accomplish that on myself.
You're good. I don't know if you're that good.
I don't know if I'm. I don't know.
She's,
If anybody
when we
does
did the raid stream together, Indigo was kind of ridiculously good at this game. But
She really is.
yes,
I'm
but
not
He knows.
that good.
He knows. He remembers.
let's the event. They're all cowering right now because the meta is up. But let's just talk quickly about some of the ambient scenes that occur in the city, and then I think that's probably a good place for us to wrap
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, just kind of like Connor's been, one of the really great things that Connor's been comparing Kaineng to was Divinity's Reach, which has a lot of casual ambience that are just kind of meant to be pieces of conversations that you walk by that tell little stories. And we filled the city with those that make it feel alive. And one of Connor's favorite ambience that I wrote is this incredibly, well, actually, we're being attacked by incredibly angry Jade Brotherhood.
I'm invisible again. I'm not. I wanted to look around in peace.
Okay, that's fine. But one of Connor's very favorite, my favorite thing to write is Morgan Lockhart, and I wrote a bunch of children.
To look around in peace.
Okay.
Yo, I love this. I love the fruit vendor ducking behind his counter while men with guns shoot the invincible woman outside his stall.
That's fine. But
He's
one
like,
of Connor's
oh
very favorite, my
God!
favorite
Like he just keeps like getting up and then ducking back down. Like, oh, it's still happening.
is, Morgan Lockhart, and I wrote
My
a bunch
cabbages!
of children being children in the expansion, which is very fun and silly and a great way to show character in a different way. But this little girl that's currently cowering because the Jade Brotherhood are attacking us and that is going on is usually shouting at her mom about how excited she is to see a char that's just on the other side of this market because she's never seen one before. So I think one of the lines that is the most quoted is, "It's wearing shoes." And
Why?
I mean, if I was why is that cat wearing shoes? So there's little moments like that sprinkled throughout all of Kaineng that make it feel very reactive, not just to Kaineng itself, but the city's now.
If they have a quest related to Char wearing shoes, it better be called Puss in Boots. Massive missed opportunity if they don't.
Been opened up to the rest of Tyria, and slowly but surely there's steps that have to do with that reopening process. But they're starting to see more people that they've never seen before. They've never seen a Char, they've never seen the Sura. Some of them may not have known that those were real creatures. Most of them did, but it's just kind of if that was literature that you encountered or not. But so we get to see the world be incredibly reactive to it, and I'm really excited for players to dig into the city and see not only the events that are happening, but just get a piece of Cantha as seen through the eyes of the Canthans. Which is maybe my favorite thing about this map.
Yeah, just to briefly touch on it design-wise. Like again, one of the interesting design challenges here is it's a city that people are living in all the time. And yet there's events that can happen. The Jade Brotherhood can get rowdy from time to time. And having the world respond to that, in this case, we had them cower and hide because that makes sense, right? But there's a real incentive, therefore, to try to keep the city safe, right? And so you can explore and see some of these ambient scenes. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you both. This tour was super fun. I hope all of you.
Really quick, so we're at 58:20. Someone said at 20 minutes something, there's a Revenant voice line I should look at. Hang on.
This corruption is very hard to completely clean up, so a lot of Cantha has focused on containing it to clear areas that people just know not to go in. Except for us, we're the commander, so we're just going to go wherever we want to go because we're.
Yeah, you guys are making friends. I'm invisible. I'm trying to find one to get like a close-up look at. So if you see one, don't murder it quite yet.
2050.
Okay,
I will.
okay.
I'm a little headstrong. I'm sorry.
Indigo's
We're
starting
noting up on the ledge up there.
Yeah, absolutely. So like we talked about in some of the other streams, and for folks that didn't tune in, all of our new
we saw the
are
elixirs
incredibly
thing.
grounded in the lore of Cantha and the nation of Cantha.
Yeah. I didn't see take a seat. I didn't see that. I commented on don't touch the elixirs. She literally says take a seat. Don't touch don't touch the beakers. Take a seat, but you'll only need the edge. Yo, that actually makes me wonder. That makes me wonder.
And so this, Yurong is our harbinger.
How funny would that be? If they're like, yeah, we were inspired by Mukluk's intro, so we made a reference to him on this class he insulted. We're like, yeah, we heard that he called the new necromancers just some Russian with a gun. That's him now. That's what you get. That's what you get.
Elite spec mentor, and she
Safe, right?
All right, hold on. Where were we?
Just over 3 weeks. And
Be safe, right? And so you can explore and see some of these ambient scenes. So yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you both. This tour was super fun. I hope all of you enjoyed watching and looking around. You guys are going to be able to check out New Kaineng for yourself in just over 3 weeks. End of Dragons is coming on February 28th. You can still pre-purchase and get some cool bonus items for your account. The Xingje Prodigy of Xingje title, the cape, the Flame Serpent weapon chest, and the Deluxe and Ultimate editions have this awesome Raptor skin and the Skip skin. So thanks again for joining.
I want to clarify that because I've had a lot of people message me with misunderstanding. The, you know what, here, hold on a second, because I feel like it's easier to see it. I am shamelessly pulling up my own referral link right here. Okay, so these three highlighted, the weapon chest, the mosaic cape, and the title. If you desire those are the pre-order bonuses. You have to pre-order before the game comes out to get those. The Raptor and the boat are not pre-order bonuses. Those are with Deluxe and Ultimate. So if you get Standard, you don't get the Raptor or the boat if you care. So I'm just trying to really drive it home so you make an informed choice if there's something you want there.
Yes. Don't forget to join us next week on the 11th as we give a little preview
Oh, really quick?
and the skip skin.
That is the Flame Serpent, because I actually chose the shield for my pre-order chest. That's the Flame Serpent shield, and that's the Flame Serpent one-handed sword, and this is the pre-order cape. Now, you can't get the shield and also the sword at this time. I don't know if you can get more than one in the future. Right now, you can only get one.
So thanks again for joining us. Don't forget to join us next week on the 11th as we give a little preview of Jade Bots. We're going to take a...
Okay, hang on. 211 is Jade Bots, 218 is music preview, 228 is launch day. I'm going to take a picture of this because I got to put these on my calendar. So, and minimize. There we go.
Look at all the details of these little helpers that you'll be able to get in End of Dragons. Indigo and Connor, thank you so much for joining us. This was a ton of fun, and we will see you all next week.
It was an adventure.
Woo!
Everyone's just going to remember that he killed that cat. Like, that's it. Like, there was the one where CMC drank 1 million water bottles. This one's gonna be like, oh, did you see the thing? Oh yeah, Connor killed a cat. That's it. That's all people are gonna remember. Show me the kitty. I'll show you this kitty. This kitty is in good health. There you go. Did you hear that? He's like, you woke me up, dude. I'm so tired. All right. Okay, pretty cool, pretty cool. As far as the Jade Bots coming up soon, we know that there's at least one mastery that's going to be like a make your own updraft thing, and there's one mastery that's going to be to like surf on those power line looking things. It's some mode of transportation. I'm sure there will be more, but I don't know how many there's going to be. There's some... Thank you. Give me just a minute. There's some masteries, like if we go in game, like here's Dragon Slayer, you know, there's 7 for this one. Waystation got 6, Manipulation got 4. So we don't know how many masteries the little Jade Robot's gonna get. If we're going by averages, it would be like 4 or more. But, you know, time will tell. Time will tell. But yeah. If you want to see the whole broadcast again, maybe without it on high speed. Yo, imagine someone on YouTube that usually watches YouTube on ×2 speed, and then they watch this, they're going to be watching it on like 3 times speed. They're going to be like, ah, buckle up. Yeah, that's it for this pretty cool map tour. I like the city. I think it'll look even better once it's packed to the gills. Nice to know they had a reference to please take a seat, but you'll only need the edge in there. And yeah, looking forward to it. Few more weeks to go.